Hi everybody, it's Mark here, just Mark today. Jem was actually at work the last Saturday but one before we actually go on holiday. So of course as a result of that I've been doing lots of packing and lots of getting ready and preparing, because going on a holiday takes a little bit of preparation and I'm not great at preparation. I've just realised I've not prepared something straight away, which is, one second, I didn't have my list handy. You've got to have a list when you're vlogging. But yeah, I thought we'd update my what's in my camera bag video for 2017. I did this one probably about, was it a year ago maybe? I don't know, something like that. And it wasn't particularly well lit. And my camera equipment's changed a little bit since then, so I thought I'd revisit. So the first thing I'm going to show you, and purely because I'm going to use this to record the rest of the video, because the SLR is fine, but the light's not as good when I'm looking at the desk down here. But anyway, technical stuff is the new camera, which is the G7X Mark II, which seems to be the camera of choice for most vloggers. We finally plumped for this one after doing much sort of decisions and so on and so forth as far as what camera to use. We've had a few practice runs, so a lot of the videos you've seen in the last few weeks have been using this camera. It's been pretty good so far. There's a couple of things I don't like about it, like it constantly seems to seek focus. It doesn't pick you out very well. So like the old camera, if I held it like you would, like this, it would go bump straight onto me and focus perfectly. This one kind of tends to wander around just a little bit, so maybe I need to get a little bit more practice in with that. I don't know, well, I've got plenty of chat opportunity to do that in the next couple of weeks. The thing on top there is the micro muff skinny muffler thing, so basically a lot of vloggers, like the first sets of our vlogs, you'll notice if you've watched them, you'll notice when we were walking around the lakes and stuff, a lot of wind noise across the top of the microphones as the wind was hitting them, and especially prominent on this little fella here, the GoPro, because this thing doesn't have the micro muff thing on it. I'd previously used ones which actually permanently stuck on, but this one does Velcro on and off, so that's pretty good. Previous vlogging camera, the Panasonic, is probably not coming on this holiday. It's been a trusty camera, we've had no trouble with it other than the microphone breaking on the first holiday, which was caused by water ingress, but I just prefer this one. At night time this one is so much better, and in the dark, so like I think a good example was when we went to the aquarium the other week. This thing just blew the socks off the Panasonic. The Panasonic was a very good camera, and if you were looking at a first time vlogging camera, I'd highly recommend one of the Lumix ones, the older models that are a bit cheaper now, but this thing, more expensive, but blows its pants off. So with that done, we're now going to move on to the Desk of Doom, which is just down here, which has all the other stuff that I've got to somehow fit in my hand luggage, for the most part. For the trip, I also need to tidy it a bit first. So I'll be back in a few minutes with the desk tidied without the hairbrush on it and things like that, and we'll go through all the other stuff that I'm going to be taking in my camera bag, including the very bag I carry it all in. I have 3 of them. I have one particular one for holidays. You'll see why in a minute. Right, I was going to show you at the table. It wasn't working out. We're going to move on. Best laid plans and all that. But anyway, here we go. The first thing I'm going to show you is my bag. This is one of the low pro sling bags, which I've used for the last 2 trips. Sorry, the last 1 trip. What I found was the first time I went to Disney, I carried a rucksack, and the rucksack had probably 5 different pouches on it. So every time you got to bag check, they'd be like, I've got to go in here, got to go in here. This thing has 1 zip on the front of it. On that zip, you're pretty much in, you're pretty much set. You can see all down inside, all the camera compartments. Everything else is like all this stuff around here. It's not zipped, it's not really secure, but this thing just holds just enough equipment. It's really easy to see. It's not super waterproof, but we'll get onto that in a bit because I always carry like a poncho. I'll include that in my packing. But that is the bag that I use. Adjustable strap, over the shoulder, nice and comfortable. Quite a malleable shape, so it fits in ride cars, probably more for Disney than Universal, because you take your bags off you with Universal. Okay, next thing, what do I put in there? Cameras wise, you've already seen the G7X. The other one camera I will be carrying, because I'm only carrying the 2 cameras, is, as previously mentioned, the GoPro. Ours is the GoPro Hero 3 White. This thing I'm probably only going to use for time-lapse and underwater photography this year. I found the last couple of trips that this thing, it's buggy. It drains batteries like crazy. So I put a fresh brand new battery in there. By the time we get to the holiday, that battery will be dead. It's draining batteries. I don't know if there's something wrong with the camera or if it's by design. The other thing is, I found, you probably may have picked up on it if you're an avid viewer of ours. Maybe you are, I don't know. But anyway, what you tend to find with this camera is sometimes the audio goes out of sync with the video. Also, it doesn't have image stabilization. You can put it on like a handle and sort of help to stabilise it like that, but I am notoriously unsteady with my hands, so you'll have noticed when I've used this thing, it looks like a drunk man's carrying it, and sometimes he was, but there we go. So other than cameras, I tend to throw in all sorts of accessories for the GoPro, for example, and Gemma had expressed an interest in trying to hold the camera a bit more this time, but she was finding it difficult to hold the camera like this and pointed at stuff, and I know quite a lot of people use these. This is the Joby Gorilla Pod as a camera handle, so she can probably carry this thing and it dual purposes up because we can use it as a little tripod and we can wrap it around things and stuff like that. It's quite useful. But also, if that doesn't work out, is my old GoPro handle here, which is currently set up to carry a normal camera. It's got like a normal ISO mount on it, but you can also just unscrew this like so and put your GoPro case on the top, which brings me on to GoPro cases. Should have planned this better, shouldn't I? Other GoPro cases, I have the waterproof gate case, which you get with every single GoPro, I think. Some of the newer ones are actually waterproof at the box, so you wouldn't get that with them. It also comes with the skeleton back, so I can have like a bit of weatherproofing on that if I need to use it. So if it's a particularly rainy day and I give up on the Canon, which I'm hoping not to do, I can always use this thing with the back open and get some okay sound. The sound on the GoPro is terrible for the most part, I find anyway. It's probably just mine again. I've got the dodgiest GoPro. But to improve the sound, if I do want to just use the GoPro as like a final resort, I will also probably just throw this little skeleton housing in. It just wraps around the GoPro and leaves the microphones exposed. Again, you get wind noise with them, so I don't know. Maybe we'll see. We'll see what happens. Of course, if you have a GoPro, you need all sorts of mounts and things like that as well. So like the bolt-on parts. I have this one here, which is a GoPro can then be mounted on like an ISO mount. I don't think I'll need this one actually. I might just leave that one at home. I also have the wrist strap, probably going to be used sparingly on this trip because we're going to Universal and I'm not going to film on rides because you can't, and I don't want to ruin the holiday by getting told off in the theme park for riding with a camera on when I'm not allowed. Kind of useful though. You can just wrap it around your strap. You can just wrap it around your wrist and point it at the things you want to film. Pretty good. What else have we got? Oh, a new one this year. We're going to hire out the Mustang as we previously mentioned. So I'm going to have this windscreen mount so we can film in the car. I'll probably more likely do time-lapse in the car because I've done that a couple of times now. Oh, I do need to look into whether I can actually use this to do time-lapse because it looks like I might struggle. There's other options though. We can come to that later. That's very clicky. So this was off Amazon. You can get loads of mounts off Amazon and they're like maybe £7 or £8. Some of them break. We'll see how we get on with this one. What else have we got here? It's a whole bag of tricks here. Obviously you're going to need memory cards. Lots of. I have just had to buy 2 new ones because I lost some. I don't know where they've gone. So I thought while I'm buying new memory cards because I keep losing them, I'm also going to buy a memory card holder, which is really good now because if I lose one memory card, I lose them all. Batteries. A lot of people say, how many batteries do you need? I tend to find 3 is probably a good quantity. So I've got 3 G7X batteries, 1 in the camera, 3 GoPro batteries again, 1 in the camera. These will probably last about an hour or so a piece. The brand that I use, because the G7X is a bit finicky with batteries, it has a chip on the camera, and if it can't read a Canon battery, it gets really grumpy and doesn't show the battery monitor. Allegedly, I've not seen it myself because I'll get onto that in a second. And also it sort of warns you at the beginning that your batteries aren't official. I bought X Pro batteries off Amazon and I've used these in, I think I use them in the Panasonic that I used to use, and maybe the GoPro one's X Pro? No, the GoPro one's X Pro, but ultimately I think it's chipped because the camera gets along just fine with it and it lasts a reasonable, I don't know if it lasts comparable to the official G7X battery, but then this battery costs £50 odd to buy. This battery costs 15. I could probably have quite a lot more of these just sat in the background waiting to use. And you know, they don't seem to swell or leak, which is always nice when you've got a battery. So I'm pretty good with those. If I'm going to say how they get on, the other option I can have is, I think Best Buy in America sell G7X batteries and they're a little bit cheaper than UK prices. So if I'm really struggling, I'll just call there and get some. The G7X will be sat in one of these, a little low pro case, which is, Gemma actually spotted this in town in one of the little shops that were having a sale clear out of them. They're about £10 a piece. This was reduced to about 6. It's pretty good though. It's padded inside and has room for your spare batteries. What else have we got here? More GoPro bits and bobs. I think I mentioned last time we have on the handle we have this GoPro saver thing which you can just wrap around your GoPro and bolt onto it. If anything then snaps on your GoPro handle, it will just save it from falling on the floor and breaking. Of course you need chargers. These aren't specifically in my camera bag, but I will be taking them with me. These are ones I picked up off Amazon. I think I got one from Asda as well. They charge 2 USB items and they're also travel, so you can go to the UK should you want to, Australia, Europe and America. So they're quite useful. They're okay. They're not the fastest charging things in the world, but they'll do. Lots and lots of lens cloths, always useful. Handy thing to have in your bag. I usually carry multiple of them, and by the end I've lost them all. Also, quite a lot of people use these nowadays. Range extending battery. I've got 2 of these that are 10,000 milliamps a piece, so they will charge a mobile phone probably 2.5 times, something like that. When you take it into account, they'll lose a bit as they go along. And of course, thousands and thousands and thousands of USB cables. For some reason every year I pick up something new and it requires a different cable. So now we've got USB mini for the GoPro, micro I think for the G7X and the range extending batteries, and also we both got new mobiles this year, so now we need of course USB-C with the new fancy end that sort of goes in both ways. I think that's pretty much it as far as the video stuff is concerned. I don't carry any extra microphones, I just go off the sound on the camera. It's probably not the best, but when I'm videoing I'm just doing it for my fun and I'm not going to be carrying around anything that gets in my way, so I just leave those things at home. I do have a microphone for when I'm recording like this, which is a Blue Yeti snowbally thing that was on sale a few years ago, so just improves the quality a little bit. I just hope it's working because it keeps unplugging itself of late. We do still photography. I think I showed last time, and this is what I filmed the first part of this vlog on. This is my trusty old ES600D with all the grips missing because I, for some reason, rock grips off things with the sweat from my hands. Very nice. That's been replaced by Sugru, which is quite useful if you ever find it's like a moldable silicone. But this has been a really good camera. It's probably about 85,000 shots into its approximate 100,000 shot life. So it's pretty much probably going to be one of the next things we replace. Unfortunately, I decided to buy the G7X instead of getting this, so it's probably going to have to wait a little bit longer. But yeah, it's been good. That is the standard 18-55 lens, so not a lot of zoom on that, but ideal for like shots around the parks or, you know, like shots of each other and stuff like that. We also, for when we visit zoos, have this one, which is the EOS 70, sorry, not the EOS, it's the 72-300mm IS. What is it? Ultrasonic motor one, USM one. Really good lens actually. I got this from MPV Photographic second hand for like 210 quid about 4 years ago, and it's still going strong. It was brand new. It looked brand new when I got it, and it's perfect. It's about £400 worth of lens, and it's not an L lens. So like with Canon, L lens are the best of the best. This is not an L lens, but it's sort of like the almost good enough to be an L lens. L lens gets a little soft out to sort of 250, 300, sort of really zoomed in. But it's a pretty good lens. I've had a lot of fun with that lens and got a lot of good photos. And my bag is now looking like it's going to be overflowing. But I do throw in a trusty waterproof poncho to keep it all dry. Probably more for the camera bag than me, because I don't want to lose any of this stuff. It is all, well, some of it is insured. The camera, the G7X, is insured, and all the accessories are kind of insured, so if that lot goes missing, I can claim that back. But I'd rather not have to do that, so I can throw a poncho over it. That's just a cheap one that I got off the internet. Okay, so that was 2017. What's in my camera bag? I hope that was of some use for you if you're planning to vlog your own holiday. Yeah, it does take a bit of packing, a bit of preparation, and I'll probably forget one thing and it'll regret it for the rest of the holiday. Speaking of which, the holiday is literally only about a week and a bit away now, so if you are following us on Twitter and Instagram, expect lots of photos and updates of what we're doing and where we're going, because I can't wait for this trip. Completely different trip planned this time from our last two, so it's going to be some different stuff videoed, and it should be really exciting. We'll probably do a pre-trip video next week, so check that out, and then from then on, the channel will go quiet for 2 whole weeks while we're out of the country. Exciting. See you soon, guys. Bye bye.